Thank you so much for hopping on. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm cool, cool. I think usually we like to start with an introduction. But then, guys, so today, we're having a friend here because I'm not sure I'm very good at pronouncing the name, Dalumba. Is that correct pronunciation?
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
I bet. Yeah, she's a Zambian, an international student that's currently in China. She's been studying there for a while, for several years. So she her experience uh with us today, and you can also get to ask your questions. If you have any question, you can ask, and she's going to reply to your question. You can just send your comments in the comment section or in the group, and then reply to your question ASAP. So yeah, without any further ado, Dalumba, could you help me correct that pronunciation real quick?
It's in Dagumba.
Dalumba. I'm quite correct. It's correct.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
go ahead and introduce yourself so people know you a little bit.
My name is Ndalumba, and I'm a Zambian, and I'm in China, and I'm studying architecture. It's a 5-year course, and I'm in my second year. And yeah,
All right, bet. So yeah, can you tell us a story like of all the countries on earth, like there's the US, there's Canada, and all the countries. Why did you choose to study in China?
well, for me, it was kind of like mostly dependent on the school fees and the scholarship that I received, because China is way cheaper compared to other countries, I believe. And like my parents were very anxious to let me go to another country, so China was kind of like the safest option because it's very safe here. Actually, it's one of the reasons most international students choose China. Like, it's so safe to the point where you can walk out of your house at 3 in the morning and nothing will happen to you. So yeah, my parents chose China simply because of the school fees and the safety. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So yeah, guys, you heard what she said about China. It's a very safe place. So tell us, like, how has it been for you in China since you go to China? Like, how was the experience for you? Do you like China, or what do you think so far?
Currently, I think I like China. It's not really much of a. I wouldn't say it's like a bad country. I wouldn't say that they are racist either or stuff like that. It's like for them, it's not really racism. It's kind of like they're curious. They just want to know why your skin color is different from theirs, why your hair is different. It's not really like they're segregating you. Oh well, there are some people who segregate you, but majority are just curious. And I know a lot of Africans like to ask that question if Chinese people are racist, and that's my answer. And um, for me, I find China very convenient in more ways than one. Their technology is good. Life is fast paced here. It's really calm and all that other stuff. And I would consider actually working here or living here for a few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the language barrier, right? It's common knowledge that the Chinese do not, is not English is not their first language, right? So
Yeah.
that you've spoken English all your life, how you know
I mean,
settling?
the language barrier is like a very big thing, and I won't lie and say like it will get easier, but the more you like practice their language, it's kind of like you become accustomed to how they live. So when you get here for the first time, obviously you have culture shocks because um they live in a different way compared to us. So, but when you get to understand their language or their day-to-day activities, life becomes normal to you. It becomes like your second home, if you want to put it. So it's just like a matter of just adjusting, but definitely you have to learn the language. In the schools that you go to, they do provide courses like Chinese learning courses for I think 1 year, 1 year or 2 years. You have to learn Chinese, you learn the characters, you learn the culture, you learn the tones, everything. You learn everything, and you can be able to communicate. And others go as far as getting HSK 6, where they can even have like full-on conversations without even using a translator with Chinese people. So it's all about when you come, you have to have the passion to learn Chinese. Yeah.
And let's talk about you. Can you share with us like how far you started the language?
For me, I feel like I didn't have much of a passion when I came here to learn. Like, I didn't really want to learn Chinese that much, but it does have its benefits. But for me, my Chinese, like, what can I say? My Chinese level is quite low. On paper, it's high. Like, my written Chinese is high, but my spoken is really, really low because I end up always using a translator. But
Okay,
yeah.
so two things you said, right? First is, are you able to survive in China without knowing the language?
Without what?
Without, fully understanding the Chinese, are you able to survive?
Yes, you can. You use a translator. You can
Okay,
survive.
cool, cool. And you said you're able to write, but you're not able to speak. You understand the characters. Is that easier than speaking?
Yeah, to some certain level, to the level that I've learned, I can understand the characters that I've learned.
So, like, how do you guys get to understand the characters?
Mm, it's kind of like they give you a book.
Hmm.
Like you go to actual class and you learn. It's like you're learning English. Like you learn the verbs, the adjectives, how to write the characters, the strokes of the characters. It's very interesting actually if you think about it. Like they put you in like it feels like you're back in kindergarten again and you're learning a new language. It's really, really interesting. And I would urge everybody to just, and I've seen somebody saying, are you allowed to work? China does not allow foreigners to work if you are studying at all. That's why
Yeah,
it's important to get a scholarship.
yeah. I think when it comes to those, yeah, for the questions, we'll come back to them later on. So
Mm.
guys, you can send in your questions, and then maybe after some time, we'll just focus on your questions. Okay? Okay, cool. So for those of you that are just joining us, they are talking about life in China, what studying as an international student in 2025. Okay, another question I have for you is, what's the exam like? Is it difficult? Is it hard? How is it
How's the
compared
what?
to country? The exam,
The Chinese exam or the
like
majors exam?
the school exam, like what's the school like in China, and the exam, what's the class, what we use with country?
Mm, I think it's kind of the same, honestly. I don't know. I feel like it's the same, but it just that maybe they are much more stricter. I don't know. But it's the exam format is the same. Like you go to class, you write your exam, no cheating, stuff like that. It's practically the same, honestly, just with different people.
Okay, and um, for the exams, like which do you think is more difficult? Is it Gambian exam or the exam in China?
Mm. I don't know because comparing like high school exams with university exams is crazy. I don't know if I can even compare them because I've
Oh,
nothing to I never like studied tertiary education in my country.
okay.
So I came
Good.
from fresh high school, so I can't compare.
All right, cool. Gotcha. then, like, how are the teachers? Like, how do you are they friendly and do they really, how do they get to explain things? Are you able to understand how the accent, like the barrier, like that?
Well, um, when I applied, when I was coming to China, I applied for the English taught courses, not really the Chinese taught courses. But it is much more favorable for you if you apply for the Chinese taught courses because the scholarship is better. But for me, my teachers can speak English. So even if I don't learn the Chinese language, I would still do well in my classes. So because most of the teachers that teach English taught classes, they usually have like some sort of experience in terms of English. It's either they went abroad to like America or the UK or Australia or Italy somewhere. So when they're teaching us, they are also teaching us about other cultures because they know way more than just Chinese stuff. They know other cultures, they have experienced other races. So when they teach us, it's not like they're in shock of the way we live because they've experienced other people's cultures.
So, so yeah, what's the weather like here in China compared to your home country?
I feel like, okay, my country is also hot, but China is hot. Like it's really hot. Like in my country, it's hot, but like there's a breeze. But then in China, it's like hot and humid. It's like the sun is like just here.
Right?
It's really, really hot. And then when it's cold, it's really, really cold. Like the extremes are really high.
That's
Like
crazy.
it's too extreme, yeah. And when it snows, it's really, really cold. Especially
Crazy.
in the northern part of China. So it's good to be aware. Like if you're applying to study in the northern part of China, it's going to be freezing. And then in the south, it's really hot. I'm currently in the center of China and I get like both. So I would only
And
imagine if I was in either extreme.
like, how many weathers do China have? Is it just summer and
How many
winter,
what?
or they have how many weathers do they have? Is it summer and winter, or they have weathers?
They have summer, winter, autumn, they have spring.
Okay, so right
Right
now,
now, it's
what?
spring.
Okay, and it's a little bit cold, and so how is it like there?
It's like in my city, like it's very bipolar. Like 3 days ago, it was hot, sunny, like we're outside with shirts and stuff. Yesterday, today, freezing, really cold. You have to wear like jackets and stuff. So it just depends. This whole week, it's like cold, but maybe like on Sunday, going that other week, it's going to be warmer. So it just depends.
Okay, so usually when students move abroad, one of the main phase is. So can you tell us, like, do you ever feel lonely? Like,
Do I get what?
you miss home there? Like, do you feel
Homesick.
like, do you ever feel lonely?
Or lonely. Yeah, I feel like it's inevitable. It really is. Whether you come to China or you go to Rome or something, I think it's inevitable because especially the first months, I feel like um if you don't know how to cope with the loneliness, you'd be depressed. And what the advice I would give somebody who's just newly going to any country is to just like explore the country so that you're not too sad, because the more you stay in your room and you just keep thinking I wish I was home and I miss my family, I miss my mom, it's going to get worse. Like you might as well just make friends, learn the language, just occupy yourself with other things. At least
Oh,
you feel lonely only when you're going to sleep, so it's okay.
and for you, like, how do keep loneliness far away from? How do you get free time? How was it for you?
For me, like I was lonely when I first came. I was very sad, and I didn't have much class to distract me from the fact that I was lonely. And then I just got used, honestly. Like I got out. It's very terrible to say, but I got used to the loneliness, and I just moved on, and I had things to do, and then it just became normal that I live in China.
Um, someone is saying they can't really hear me. Sorry about
So yeah, are you able to hear me though? Is it better now?
Yeah,
Cool. For you, you're able to hear me, right?
yeah, I can hear you.
All right, bet. For those of you just joining, we're talking about life in international students, and we have with us today international student that's currently in China. And yeah, you can ask your questions about life in China if you're interested. Ask the questions, and then she's going to reply to you. Yeah, tell us about living. You mentioned earlier that it's very cheap to stay in China. So, like, can you give us like particular numbers so we can work with? Really, your cheap might not be the same as my cheap. So, like, what numbers are you? How much do you spend per month on feeding, rent, on your, entertainment, on tuition? What's it like basically for you?
For me, I would say like my feeding. I think groceries here are very, very cheap for anybody, no matter the budget. I think they're very cheap because um for groceries, I usually spend like 150 yuan for like the fresh produce, and that includes like fish, chicken, and the veggies. I spend like 150 to like 200, but usually the highest I go is like 180, and that usually lasts me like a month and like 2 weeks. And then for stuff like rice, like I don't know, spaghetti, stuff like that, I would spend like maybe 100 yuan. That's so roughly like in a month I would spend like 400. Maybe those are the other money. Maybe it's just for like buying things that you like maybe Coca-Cola or whatever. But generally, the living costs in China are really, really, really cheap. And for accommodation, it depends on your budget. As you said, your cheap is not my cheap. So you can find houses as low as 700 yuan that I'm sure of, because I live in the dormitory. But again, there are communities that you can live, like if you want to live in an apartment. There are homes where you where the rent is like 1,800, and maybe it's a two-bedroom or a three-bedroom. You find other people and you share the cost of the rent, and you can be paying 700 every month. So it depends on your budget as well, or the scholarship that you get. It all depends, but overall it's very cheap.
Cool. You talked about 700. Is it per month or per year, the rent?
Per month. Per month.
Okay, and from your experience, right, most international students uh, staying on campus or in the off-campus accommodation.
I think most of them do prefer to stay on campus the first like maybe 6 months when they learn, because they don't know anything or anybody. And then after like the first semester they would move outside, because they would find a house that is similar to the pay they pay in the dormitory. So yeah, I think that's the route most people do. But if they are well acquainted or they know somebody in that city, they'll just tell them to find for them a house that is equivalent to somewhere, maybe 800, 700, and they would find one.
Okay, and from your own personal experience, right? You
Mm.
comfortable with the hostel, move outside the hostel.
My hostel is actually just fine, honestly. If you don't mind having a roommate, I think it's just fine. Personally, I think I would want to move out maybe like when I'm in fourth year or something, like maybe 2 years before I graduate. And then I think I would want to move out just for some sort of experience or independence. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. So, guys, just for context, right? I know she
Mm-hmm.
mentioned a lot of these in yuan, so I just converted them to dollars. So I think you said you spend around 100 yuan on your groceries per month, right?
Yeah.
And that's about $55 a month. Just crazy,
Yeah, that's really,
crazy
yeah.
cheap. And talking about the accommodation, if we're talking about 700 yuan per month, that's about 90. Guys, I think China might be one of the cheapest countries for you to international students. And can you tell us more about the scholarship? Like, that I don't understand how a Chinese scholarship works. What type of scholarships are available, and how does it work?
For scholarships, I think earlier I did mention that it would be to advantage if you would learn in Chinese rather than learning English taught courses, because the Chinese government offers CSC scholarships, which cover everything from your flight tickets to your accommodation to your living stipend. And CSC student get, like, that's just bachelors, they get like 2,500 or 3,000 RMB every month in living stipend. And then your accommodation is paid for, and if you decide to stay outside of campus, they'll still reimburse you the money for you to pay your landlord outside. So it's a really good scholarship. And then apart from that one, there are provincial scholarships. The one that I'm on is a provincial scholarship. It's just in my province, and that one is kind of like a 50-50. Like, they'll pay your accommodation, or they'll either pay your tuition fee. It just depends on which one you get. Or maybe they'll give you living stipend. For me, they give me living stipend and they pay half of my school fees. So they are like, it's just like, I would advise anybody who's coming to get the CSC, because it's much more to your favor as an international student, because you wouldn't get to maybe do awkward jobs or something just for you to have more money, because they offer you
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, cool, cool. And just add to what you said, I think for language programs, there are also scholarships as well for
Yeah.
every undergrad, masters, and PhD. And some are
Yeah.
fully funded for tuition, accommodation, depends as well. You just have to just apply so that you
You definitely.
can out if that we can help you with. So tell us about the culture shocks, because the Chinese, they're quite conservative compared to we Africans. So what are the culture shocks so far there?
The culture shocks I've experienced in China, I think my biggest one that I hate the most is that they spit a lot. I think that's what I don't like the most. And what else is this culture shock to me? Um, the Chinese students pay money for them to shower, and their showers are not in their dormitory. That's very odd to me. Like, they have a separate building where they go to shower. That's very odd.
Can you
And
go into more detail, like, I don't understand. When you say have a separate building, like just one building for showering, like one showers in the same like apartment shower. How does it
it's
work?
like
Like,
it's like they have like okay, it depends on the school you go to as well, but like, it's kind of like they have their dormitories, right? Because Chinese people live 4 people in one room, but foreigners live 2 people in one room. So they live 4 people in one room, but there's like a restroom, like a toilet. But then the showering is like in a different building on the campus. So like, you'd have to pay like maybe 0 point something you want for you to shower every day. Like, you, every single time you go to shower, you have to pay it.
is it
That's very odd to me.
is it the Chinese or you as a foreigner?
No, only the Chinese. The Chinese.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really weird.
What
Mm.
other culture shocks do you remember right now?
Another culture shock that I've experienced is that they, I feel like there's no fruit that is out of season. Like, I don't know. Like, they have every produce you could ever think of. Like,
For real?
dragon fruit has no season. Like, watermelons have no season. Well, watermelons, they usually are a lot in summer, but like you can find it any time of the year. Like they usually use like chemicals or whatever to make the plants grow more, and their agriculture is, I know people always say like Africa is like the land of agriculture, but Chinese people produce food like crazy. Though that's why the food is so cheap. Like they produce a lot of food, and it's just insane. It's really, really, yeah. Like, and the other culture shock is that they have cashless money system. When I came here, it was like you, like they don't. It's so rare for somebody to see a Chinese using money to pay for something. They always use their phone. They use their wrist. All
Like,
those videos
like
you've seen, like
everyone
real.
across all sectors of their economy use cashless and
Yeah, definitely.
illiterate as
Everything.
well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Others use, I don't know this palm thing that they are doing, but I've seen people do that, paying with your palm. I don't know how that that happens, but people are doing it. People
That's
paying with
crazy.
smartwatches, and just like the transport system is very effective here. Like 1 yuan can take you all over the city. The metro stations are really cheap. Everything is just so convenient. Like honestly, I would advise somebody to come to China, especially if it's your first time traveling on your own, abroad, whatever. Everything here is so convenient.
Thank you so much for that very detailed answer. Guys, we've talked about a lot, what of education, about the language barrier, weather. We've talked about living as well, China. So for those of you just joining, we're talking about life in China, international students. So if you're looking for a country that's very affordable for you to study, and you can even study for free without paying nothing, and also get to study in English, then you might want to consider studying in China. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, send it in at the end of all the questions, and we'll call it a day. So I think we've talked about a lot so far. Um, what would you say like you've had issues adjusting for, like compared to home? Like, what have you had issues to? What took you a lot of time for you to adapt in China?
Mm, I think maybe the food. It took a long time to experience Chinese food. I
Okay, like
think that
is there
the main.
a difference, right, between your food and Chinese food? What's the difference basically?
Um, Chinese food is more like, I don't know. It's just white people stuff. I really don't know
You've
how I can
forgotten the
say
difference now. You're used to it.
it. I like. I don't know. Like it, I don't know. It's just Chinese food. I don't know how I can say it.
Yeah.
Like they use a lot of, they boil stuff a lot. They, I don't know how I can say it. Like it's just, it's like maybe if you've had like bone broth or something. That's
Mm-mm-mm.
kind of the way the Chinese food is. But there are some foods that are delicious. And the thing about Chinese food, like you walk past a restaurant, it smells so terrible, but the food tastes so good. But then when you're a foreigner, like when you just smell that it smells so bad, you wouldn't want to try it. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I was also asking, right, about the food.
Mm.
So there's some countries people go to and they're like, this country they eat a lot of carbohydrates, and there's some large level of obesity in the country, like a large
Mm.
population of people there have obesity. So like, how would you describe the Chinese food? Is it largely carbohydrates or largely protein, or is it balance?
No, they definitely have balance that. Actually, Chinese people are the healthiest people I've seen so far. Like they literally exercise every evening, and it's like they have a culture for the older generation. Like they have some certain form of, I don't know, I think you see it everywhere, like old Chinese people dancing early in the morning. That's like their exercising stuff. And then their food is very balanced. Like you have greens, you have the meat, and you have some form of um carbohydrates or starch or something like that. So it's very, very balanced. It's just that it's not what I'm used to. I'm used to
Mm.
eating kima like almost every single day. When I came here, it's like I
Mm.
have to adjust to eating rice, pasta. It was just, yeah, but I've adjusted now.
I got you. So yeah, before we continue, can you tell us like how many minutes do you have with us?
How many what?
Like how long do you have to spend with us, or how many minutes do you have left?
I think I can spare some 20 minutes.
All right, cool.
Mm.
So tell us about the provinces in China because I bet there are lots of provinces, right? And from your experience, like, do you have a particular province or a particular region that I recommend international students to travel to or to study at, or you just think anyway is okay?
It depends. As I said, like the north is very cold. And I feel like most foreigners wouldn't want that
Mm,
to go to the north. And I think all those universities in the south, they are well known also, and the weather is good. Like maybe if you come to Shanghai, like in my province, or you go to Guangdong where there's Guangzhou and stuff, or you go to Shanghai, or you go to any other province, Shandong, all these provinces that are in the south, you would really, really enjoy. And also, I would like to add that the province that you live determines how the cost of living is. So you can't
mm,
compare how an international student who's in Guangzhou lives compared to me. Guangzhou is like a big city. It's like everything happens there. Like so, their living expenses are a bit higher compared to where I live. Even people in Beijing, Shanghai, those are big cities. So the way they live is different, and the scholarships they do know that. So some people, like for example, I could have a CSC scholarship, and somebody in Beijing would also have a CSC, but they might be getting 5,000
oh,
yuan every month
per
because they know
month.
the cost of living there is
That's cool.
different.
That's cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So yeah, someone is asking, are you allowed to marry each other?
You're allowed to marry. It's just free will. It's just that when you do marry, you'll be under a marriage visa, and you won't be able to work.
Okay. Someone is asking how much does it cost to study? I mean, how much does the feeding cost in Naira? Okay, let me just convert what she earlier said. So basically, from what she said, you have about 400 yuan for your feeding. In Naira, that's about 42,900 Naira per month. And I think in China, there's not much inflation. Like, do you get experience this where is in Nigeria, for instance, now, today go to the market, a bag of rice is 2,000 Naira. Next week you go, it's 5,000 Naira. Do you experience that inflation in China as well?
Not really. Not really.
Hmm. That's cool. That's actually cool. So let's move on to the next question. Someone is asking, how do you make friends there in China, and what's your experience with making friends? Are you only friends with international students, or is it locals? Yeah. So how do you get to connect with others? That's what someone is asking here.
Mm, I think when you first come, you obviously levitate more to the foreigners and the Chinese people are very, let me say, timid, for the lack of better words. And like, even when you go to the canteen, they won't really approach you to be your friend. So the only way you make friends with Chinese people, especially if you want to you want to improve your Chinese, because you won't improve your Chinese if you don't have Chinese friends. So if you want to improve your Chinese, you have to have hobbies that you do that Chinese people also like maybe football. That's already a lot of foreigners already like football, like tennis. I don't know, anything, running, anything that would involve like Chinese people being there. It's a way of connecting with them. And they are also very, I would like to add, busy people. So like I feel like connecting with them is kind of like on a shallow basis, just so the both of you can get something out of each other. They would learn how to speak English, you would also learn how to speak Chinese. But for international students, it's inevitable that you make friends.
It's all right. Thank you so much for that. I was just trying to check, like, for this scholarship it talks about, um, do you have an idea of the deadline, the application time, and all of that?
Um, Actually, they do this thing of like the March intake and the September intake. So I think when the portals are open for like if you want to apply to a university, they do give options of like the type of scholarships that are available, obviously. And if you just choose Chinese taught courses, CSU definitely pop up.
All
So it opens and closes as the normal schools are.
right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, someone is asking, are the courses taught in English? I think she said yes to that. You have English language programs and you have Chinese taught programs if you want to learn in Chinese. Some other person is asking, what about the school fee? How much do you pay for the school fees? And I think she answered that. She said that the school fees depends on the scholarship. So you can pay half tuition, full tuition, or no tuition. You can study for free. You just need to apply for a scholarship. So yeah, someone again is asking, can you work and study? And she said that you cannot work as a student in China, but I bet you can do a business, right, in China.
Illegally, yeah, again.
Yeah. Someone is asking, can you work and study? You cannot work and study. And it's not a big problem like in China compared to Europe, right? So in China, you cannot work and study, but then they give you scholarship and they give you stipend that covers your living allowance, your living expenses, your rent, your accommodation, your feeding, your hostel. So basically, what is that like working for? When you don't need, all of that stress. In Europe, for instance, now usually you can work and you can study because Europe is very, very expensive. So that's why they made it that way. Someone asking about the requirements to study in China. I'll just answer that question. So basically, your transcripts, bachelor's degree transcript, as well as your medical certificate and your police clearance, right? Yeah. So guys, I believe I've touched all the questions so far. So for those of you that are just joining us, we're having a Q&A session. We're talking about life in China as an international student. Is it worth studying in China as a foreigner in 2025? And we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the points of education. We've talked about the accent, the language barrier, the weather, the work and study. We've talked about the loneliness. We've talked about living expenses, culture shocks. We've talked about a lot, guys. So yeah, if you want to, you can always go back to listen to this recording after this live. On Instagram is going to be there as well as on Facebook as well and YouTube as well. So let's talk about on a more personal note, right? What? Okay, this is a very crazy question, but yeah, how would you describe dating in China, like for you as a foreigner? Is it toxic or is it cool?
I think amongst the foreigners, a little bit toxic. It's like I would say like a trade or something. Like the guys want like I don't know. It's like the girls want the money and the guys want the bodies of the women. It's just ridiculous.
That's crazy. But I think the general issue actually is not just in China.
Yeah,
It's a problem
definitely.
in
Yes,
Africa.
definitely.
Uh,
It's definitely a pandemic. And here it's like there's so many options. They're Russian, they're white. So if you are interested with different people, you might as
well,
well.
that's cool. And what's your favorite moment so far? Like your best experience, even if it's a day, a moment that you can remember your best experience in China, like so far.
My best experience so far. Let me see. I think my best experience is just like maybe going to other cities. It's also like a mini culture shock because China is so big. It's so big. You go to a different city and it seems like it's a different
For
country.
real,
So
it's like, different
yeah,
from each other.
yeah, very different. Like the food is different. The people speak a different dialect. It's so different.
So like, does that mean that someone from maybe Shanghai province, right? He goes to Guangzhou. When they communicate in that are they able to understand each other, or is completely different language they're speaking?
Actually, it's also very funny because like my teacher once told us that she's a Shangshiren, like she grew up and like was raised in Shaanxi. And then she once went to Guangzhou and then their dialect is very different. It's Chinese, but it's just a Guangdong dialect. So when she went there, she found it difficult to understand them by hearing, but then the characters are the same. So when
Mm.
she reads, she understands, but when they speak, she can't understand because they speak so fast, and it's just a whole thing. And like as a foreigner, it's even worse because like for me, I'm learning the Chinese Shaanxi dialect. I'm
Mm.
not learning any other. So when I go to another province, it's like I only know Shaanxi dialect. So when I go there, it's kind of like, I can't understand you. What are you saying? That's where the translator comes in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Another question is, can you come to study with your partner, with your dependent, with your child, with your wife? Do you have anyone there that's in that position there? Or
A lot
that's
of masters and PhD students have that, but for bachelors, no.
no,
I
okay,
don't think.
cool.
Yeah.
And someone is asking, can you do import and export business alongside your studies? I think
I think everybody does that.
really.
Yeah, I think everybody does
Oh,
that.
that's cool. I think maybe we'll have another live to talk about that in detail. But yeah, I believe you've answered all the questions today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Dalumba, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy person. Thank you for taking out the time to join us today. And for those of you that joined, thank you so much for joining in. Any questions you have after this live, you can send to us on Instagram, or if you want to communicate directly with her, you could also reach out to me, and I'll pass the message to her as well. And if you're also interested to apply to China, then you should reach out as well. I'm going to help you with that. Deadlines are quite fast approaching. And for you, do you have any final thoughts or any advice to international students before we end?
I've seen a question that's really interesting. Saying my other question, academic awards for international students. Actually, it is they're like ours. They say scholarship, but yet they're awards. For like excellent students. So like if you have CSC, you can partake in excellent student because like they give actual money. But if you're on other scholarships that do like 50-50 or something of that sort, there are scholarship like excellent student where they'll give you like 10K, 15K, 13K for being an excellent student.
15,000.
And also, yeah, you
Oh my
won. And they're
God,
also
that's money.
um they're very like the various opportunities when you come here. I feel like the best advice I would give somebody who's coming to China is that partake in all the school events, get certificates, like do the Chinese language, because there are some people that partake in the Chinese language events. They also win money. So like almost everything here, like you could make it a thing if you like do like you have to make it a craft at the end of the day, and if because they don't allow you to work, so you have to make money in other means that
Mm.
seem legal. Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. And for context, right, you talked about 15,000 yuan. That's about 2,000 US dollars. Just
that's a
an award being the excellence, student, whatever. So, guys, I think there are a lot of opportunities in China actually, and hopefully, I get to come as well to see what's up there. Hopefully. So, guys, if you guys want to come to China, then you need to send us a message, and we can help you apply immediately. Dalumba, thank you so much again for your time.
yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.